The terrifying case of Maribel Ramos. In 2013, US Army veteran and college student Maribel Ramos vanished into thin air. Her disappearance seemed inexplicable. Things were going great for her at that time. The police had no leads. However, when a close friend started commenting on a Yelp thread, he gave away a bit too much. Welcome to Lavender City. If you're new here, we would love to have you as a subscriber. Before we start, we would like to mention that our thoughts go to all of those affected by the disappearance and murder of Maribel Ramos. Trigger warning, the video may contain graphic details and instances of kidnapping and murder. Born in November 1976, Maribel Ramos always knew that she wanted to work in law enforcement. She worked as a security guard at a department store after high school, and to meet her long-term goal of gaining a college degree and making her parents proud, she joined the US Army. She served in the Army for 8 years, during which she served 2 combat tours in Iraq, followed by a year in South Korea. She was honorably discharged in 2008, and she joined the California State University in Fullerton to get a degree in criminal justice. Things were going as planned for the bright, young 36-year-old, if not better. She lived with a roommate, Kwang Choi K.C. Joy, in a quaint 2-bedroom apartment in Orange, California on rent. She was about to graduate in the spring of 2013 and even had her hair colored and styled for the commencement ceremony. But things were about to take a turn for the worse. In the first week of May 2013, Maribel Ramos returned from a trip to Chicago, where she had participated in a panel discussion about veterans transitioning to civilian life post-service and their opportunities to pursue higher education. Her sister, Lucy Gonzalez, texted her sister to ask how her Chicago trip went. However, when she didn't receive an immediate response, she wasn't concerned. She knew that Maribel had been sent back home from her job at the Veterans Center at the university since she had appeared to be jet-lagged. That evening at around 5:48 p.m., Maribel texted Lucy back, saying she had finally managed to catch up on her sleep and would give her a call later. Little would Lucy know that this would be the last time any family member would hear from her. On Friday, May the 3rd, Maribel was a no-show at a softball game and was also supposed to take part in a Veterans Appreciation Night at the CSUF campus. Her friends and family immediately became concerned, since it was unlike Maribel to simply walk away from her commitments and her life. According to a statement released by CSUF President Mildred Garcia on behalf of the university, she was a beloved student and a military veteran, and was an active member of the campus and community. She was also a wonderful role model to her peers, faculty, and staff, and was committed to her education. Whilst taking college classes, she took some time off to take care of her ailing mother, who unfortunately passed away. Maribel often volunteered to talk about PTSD symptoms and methods to cope with them. Yet suddenly, out of the blue, it seemed like she had walked away from everything. She had left her car, and since her disappearance, there had been no activity on either her cell phone or her credit cards. Moreover, she had left behind her beloved dog, a Chihuahua mix named Mia, who was her constant companion. While initially the police didn't suspect foul play, since it seemed like Maribel's wallet and cell phone were still with her, her family pressured them that this behavior was out of the ordinary. She was, after all, going to begin an exciting new phase of life and was just weeks away from her graduation. After reporting her missing, an investigation into her disappearance finally began. She was last seen on video while she was dropping off her rent check. What added another eerie, spine-chilling layer of mystery was that she had made a 911 call about a week and a half before disappearing. In the recorded call, she said that she was scared and was ready to take desperate measures to protect herself. Had whatever or whomever the Army veteran was scared of come back for a second shot. Lucy Gonzalez noted that her sister had been dating someone she had met a couple of months ago, but that it looked promising and that they liked each other. Was this mystery lover behind her disappearance? Her roommate, K.C. Joy, stated that he called her about 3 times when Maribel hadn't returned to the apartment. He was questioned by the police, who also took photos of him. He took a DNA test and handed over his cell phone to the detectives in charge of the case. He told a neighbor that the last time he had seen Maribel was before he went out on May the 2nd. Detectives even searched the rented apartments she shared with KC and removed 11 bags of evidence and her dog, Mia. She had lived in the place for about 18 months and seemed to be on good terms with her roommates. The two had even gone on a cruise together. In the days following her disappearance, her family put up several flyers and posted messages on social media asking people for leads. They appeared on local TV pleading for her return and even set up a Find Maribel Ramos page on Facebook to get the word out about her disappearance. At that point, both Lucy and KC stated that nothing about the whole situation made sense. Meanwhile, detectives from the Orange County Police Department launched the case by looking into the usual suspects, men Maribel was acquainted with and with whom she had relationships in the past. The first suspect was Paul Lopez, a boyfriend she had met on the online dating site Plenty of Fish. When investigators had looked into Maribel's phone records, they learned that she had talked to Paul on the same night she had gone missing. When interviewed by Detective Joey Ramirez, Paul stated that he was at work that fateful night, but he mentioned something that would eventually break open the case. Allegedly, Maribel had been arguing with her roommate regarding him not being able to pay rent for that month. She wanted him out of the house by the next day for not being able to pay the money. Using cell phone records and surveillance footage, the police cleared Lopez from their list of suspects. Similarly, 2 other men that Maribel had met on that dating site were also cleared of all suspicions. Soon, the eyes turned to her roommate KC Joy. The last time Maribel had been seen alive was at 8:30 p.m. on the 2nd of May, when she dropped off the rent check at the front office of her apartment complex. This was sometime after her conversation over the phone with Paul. When Casey was questioned about his argument with Maribel, he admitted that they had verbally fought, but he had gone for a drive at around 9 p.m. to clear his head. According to him, she was still at home when he left, but was missing when he came back. Besides, he had alerted the authorities that she was missing, and they had no solid evidence that connected the 55-year-old with her disappearance. Casey continued to cooperate fully with the authorities and pleaded for her safe return when he talked to a news outlet. He claimed he had nothing to do with her vanishing and added that he just needed her to come back, as she was not only his best friend, but perhaps his only friend. He missed her and considered her a part of his family. Why would anyone suspect this introvert chemist after his heartfelt speech? He seemed genuinely concerned about his roommate and just wanted her to come back. Yet, as the investigation continued and Ramos's relatives pleaded to the public for information about her whereabouts, the officials started zeroing in on Joy. Several potential suspects were eliminated, and there was just something about this man that seemed suspicious. Police had even noted that Joy had scratches on his arms, possibly defensive wounds. Maribel was a hardened veteran after all, someone her sister claimed could take care of herself. However, Joy brushed off these allegations and claimed that the marks were from some thorny bushes at the local park. It was also revealed that the 911 call that Maribel had made just 11 days before her disappearance was after a conversation with KC, and that she was scared of him after the two had a heated conversation. But all the authorities had at this point was circumstantial evidence. There was no hard proof tying KC to Maribel's disappearance, nor did they have a body in their hands. But soon, things were going to tie themselves up in a neat little package. First, suspicions were raised when Casey kept referring to Maribel in the past tense on a Yelp forum. He said that the two had a lot of fun together, and that he knew he would not hesitate to give his life for her. Since the police had already confiscated Joy's computer and laptop, they observed that he was spending an unusual amount of time at the local public library. He was accessing the computer there, and the detectives believed that if they could determine and analyze Joy's search history, they might get a big lead in the case. And they came up with an ingenious way to sniff out the secrets Casey was hiding. The police obtained a search warrant, which would allow them to observe in real time every move that Joy made on the computer. His online searches turned up big red flags. One of them included, how long would it take for a human body to decay? Then on May the 16th, after a Facebook announcement for an awareness walk to search for Maribel was posted, he used a satellite map to zoom into a remote location near Santiago Canyon and Jackson Ranch, which was marked by a tree. The police hadn't yet searched the area, but on seeing Joy look the area up on the map, they headed to the spot by the time he left the library that day. Earlier that day, residents had been complaining about a terrible odor in the area. The responding authorities, bolstered by what they had discovered about Joy, soon found the body of a Hispanic woman about 5 feet 2 inches tall with brown shoulder-length hair in a shallow grave in Majeska Canyon. The description matched that of Maribel Ramos, who also had 2 tattoos for identification, a star on her left shoulder and a tribal symbol on her lower back. Shockingly, her body was so decomposed that her face couldn't even be recognized. Those conducting her autopsy had to use dental records to verify her identity. What was worse was that the cause of death couldn't be determined because of the body's decayed condition. Her final moments of life remain a mystery to this day. The police arrested Casey Joy on May the 17th. At the trial in July 2014, the prosecution contended that while the roommates had an argument about the rent, which promoted her to ask him to leave, the driving force behind the murder was that Casey was in love with Maribel. Prosecutors said that all of his public comments on forums saying he missed her and considered her part of his family were all a ruse. They argued that he had killed Maribel when she refused to return his love and ordered him to move out. In fact, he even had eye surgery to make himself look younger and had also paid for a cruise together in an attempt to woo her. So, when he realized his opportunity to be with the love of his life was coming to an end, he brutally murdered her and dumped her body. On the other hand, Casey's legal team defended him by claiming that Maribel had previously dealt with paranoia, as was common with those who had served in Iraq. They added that she was suicidal and that she likely died of a medical condition or killed herself. They alleged that she had been drinking when she made the 911 call. Casey's virtual drive-by of the shallow grave in Majeska Canyon was defended by saying that after finding Maribel's body, he had panicked and decided to dispose of the body before he would be wrongly accused of murder. In the end, however, the jury found Casey guilty of second-degree murder. Before he was sentenced, he stated that though her family wanted him to apologize for his actions, he wouldn't apologize for something that he hadn't done. He added that someday the truth would be revealed, hopefully before he would just die in prison. In September 2014, he was sentenced to 15 years to life. According to prison records, he still remains incarcerated at the correctional training facility at Soledad in California. He will be eligible for parole in February 2023. That's all for today. What do you think about Maribel Ramos's case? Could her death have been avoided? Do you think Casey Joy was framed and that he is as innocent as he claims? Comment your thoughts below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to our channel and smash the notification bell to not miss a single video from us. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time when we uncover the details of yet another crime.